across academia, government, and international organizations. He is the UN Special Envoy of Financing the 2030 Agenda since February 2020, and he played the key role in COP27, held in his native Egypt last year. Including his wealth of expertise in development and sustainable finance, Dr. Mohieldin, as a high-level champion, plays a pivotal role in rallying state and non-state players towards effective climate action. His efforts have helped realize climate mitigation ambition, advance climate adaptation efforts, and bridge public and private sector efforts. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Mohieldin.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to address the mayors, leaders of cities, dwellers around the world, represented through you, and of course, everyone around here listening to us and following this important inclusion of those who have the bigger responsibility in dealing with climate action priorities. As mentioned in the introductory remarks, 80% of the problem, 80% of the emissions are in cities. But again, the solutions through changes in consumption patterns and production patterns can and should come from cities. This COP28 hosted in the UAE started us off great news by the establishment of the Loss and Damage Fund. But that great news shouldn't have been really celebrated as such if we're doing a better job in the first line of defense, which is mitigation and reducing emissions, which the global system had failed in achieving. And that's why we are requiring more investments, more support for the second line of defense, which is an adaptation, and the cities are very much front and center of the adaptation agenda of Sharm el-Sheikh, as you all know. For the first time ever since the Paris Agreement, the opportunities for partnership led by cities had been spelled out in different ways. Water systems, food systems and agriculture consumed by city citizens. You cannot live in a city without those basic supplies, essentials for life. And then, of course, the investments required in settlements, in cities, in urban dwellers, and in rural as well. Those who are like leading the work in different countries like mine, sometimes, and I go to my village every other month or so, and more frequently now, given the hosting of the COP here and last year in Egypt. Sometimes I still call it a village while it is officially called Medina or a city, but it still has a great deal of features of a village because the dependence on farming and agriculture, the habits, the culture, very much there, reminding you of the old village, but again, officially it's called city. In many aspects of work, sometimes you fall into the problems of taxonomy. When you talk about urban, and then you divide that, you say rural, and the fact of life could be like rurban, like some of my friends at the World Bank remind us that you are, in some cases, in between rural and urban, and that needs a particular kind of attention. However, having said that, the adaptation agenda is going as well into areas related to desertification, and many of your cities are threatened by desertification. We're talking as well about deforestation as a problem, and many of your cities are threatened by the deterioration in forests, and there is investments required when it comes to the coastal areas, and many of your cities are threatened by the rising sea level. Having said that, and in many years, we have seen cities getting more responsibilities. You are in the front line, not just in dealing with climate change, but with people needs. If your life is better, it's because of your city or your town or your village is better in terms of education, health system, and providing the essential of services. So this is basically reminding everybody about the obvious. I can tell you that there was an enormous mistake for many years that climate action was separated for SDG action. SDG 11 was not mentioned. The work required in localization, and I don't like, with all due respect to the different theories here about those who are enthusiasts toward the center or decentralization, I don't use these terms. I use more localization because it's more about impact. It's more about realizing the comparative advantage of the center and the comparative advantage that cannot be substituted by the city leaders and what they are doing. So we're talking more now about localization. In this very COP, I'm happy that there is more than 1,000 mayors are here in different events and activities. And by having the mayors and their leadership and the communities with them, we are reminded that we cannot really go into that ridiculous reductionist approach for climate action to mean only some aspects of the work, but we need the holistic, system-wide approach because your citizens are requiring this system-wide delivery. And you are not and cannot be able to separate your investment in education and health from the investments required in infrastructure, your investment required in the resilience of building, the resilience required in transformation of technology to enhance the service, the investment required in order to make your cities sustainable based on the climate action and the adaptation agenda at large. Gaps of finance, I encourage you please to read the report that we came up supporting. This is the UniteActDeliver and Vera Songwe report about the global gaps. It's in the trillions, $2.4 trillion need to be enhanced and financed to developing economies and emerging markets with China. Can I ask you please, check if this is relevant to you or not. Get this methodology, not at the global level, 40,000 feet, not at the regional level that I'm working on, and there are lots of good work between the city mayors at the regional level as well, but not even at the national level, but at the city level. And this was my challenge to UniteActDeliver and Vera Songwe, can really get that trickle down to the city level. Is the mobilization of capital and finance relevant to your argument? Can we do a better job going forward? Then I'll leave you with my final point. When I was preparing with colleagues for COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh that ended up with success, alhamdulillah, as we say, and here is going to be with success as well because of good preparations, I was just asked many times, because I have the pleasure of checking on my village, because my family is still there, every day in the morning, I call my family there. And they say, well, congratulations, you call you now Climate Champion, nice title added to your many other titles, but what's in it for us? What's in it for us is basically what you can do. If you can really mobilize finance for better access to energy and reduce the cost to be more affordable. If you can mobilize the funds available, including the $30 billion, the Green Climate Fund replenishment, the opportunities coming from the multilateral development system, to make that of support to what you are doing. This is basically the active translation to that. Until that happened, I led a project for information and enhancement of learning by mobilizing the Green Smart Initiative, through which we managed to answer why what we are doing here in Dubai today, what we're doing in Egypt last year, and what we are going to be doing in a couple of years in Brazil. I don't know what we're going to be doing next year exactly, but we all know at some time. But there will be a COP and will be more of the arguments, especially in finance. So here is basically about bringing the citizens as part of the solutions. They are not just passive recipients. And this interactive way resulted in the best ideas. I come from that background, with all this due respect to global or national or local leaderships. People know better, and you are coming from the people serving them, and you have the opportunity to enhance what we can deliver better on finance, in technology, on incentives to improve the world going ahead. Thank you so much, and it's a great opportunity to speak to you. Thank you.